The Nigerian Army Authority says it has launched a probe into the allegation of sexual harassment and assault by its officers, adding that it will take appropriate action based on findings of the investigation. The probe was launched following a viral video in which a female soldier, Ruth Ogunleye, accused 3 senior officers of harassment, intimidation, and threats to her life when she was posted to the Cantonment Medical Center in Ojo, Lagos. Ogunleye alleged the colonel made unwarranted sexual advances towards her, which she rejected, after which senior officers subsequently threatened her with dismissal from the army, denied her promotion courses, and rejected her army pass request. The soldier also detailed how the colonel purportedly forcibly evicted her from her apartment and confined her to a psychiatric hospital. Reacting, the Nigerian Army, in a statement through its Director of Army Public Relations, Major General Onyema Nwachukwu, emphasized the seriousness of the allegations and pledged a thorough investigation into the matter. Let's now go back to the story of alleged sexual harassment on one Ruth Ogunleye by senior officers of the Nigerian military when she was posted to the Cantonment Medical Center in Ojo, Lagos. Let's discuss it further. Gender rights activist Betty Abbah joins me on the news. Thank you for your time, Mrs. Abbah. Now, these allegations made by the female soldier Ruth Ogunleye reveal the high prevalence of workplace sexual harassment in Nigeria. Now, are sexual assault and gender discrimination laws a sufficient solution to end workplace harassment in the country?
Thank you very much. And it's quite saddening what's happening in the forces in the Nigeria, reflected by the recent video from Miss Ogunleye. I will say right away that this is an indication of what is happening all over the country, not just in the army, but all over the country. And Miss Ogunleye happens to be maybe 1 out of a million, 1 out of 10 million young people, women especially, who have mustered the courage to come out to speak publicly about the situation, damning the consequences of her action, because as it is, she had had enough. So it's not just quite prevalent. Many people are afraid of speaking out. And then right to your question, the laws, we have laws on so many institutions, so many organizations right now have laws about on workplace harassment, policies on gender-based violence. In Lagos, for instance, because of the high prevalence of several reports about children, school children being sexually molested, being defiled, violated generally by their teachers and caregivers. Lagos had to force schools, mandated schools, to have a workplace policies on sexual violence, gender-based violence in general. But then having the laws is not enough. What about enforcement? And that has been the problem in Nigeria, not just with regards to sexual harassment, but all facets of life, where you have all kinds of laws. But for a start, many people are not even aware of the existence of the laws that govern, that protect their rights. And then there's the issue of enforcement. Then there's the issue of the compromised state of law enforcement in Nigeria, where the police especially would side with the violator if they have superior money power. So the laws are there, but then it's not as effective as it should be. It's not just having the law, workplace harassment and all of that, but they're not enforced. And the issue about stigmatization, the issue about fear of reprisal, the issue of the fact that many people are not even aware of the existence of this law because there's not enough awareness is an issue. So it's still, we're still in the dark as far as sexual harassment and the violation of human rights across sectors is concerned in Nigeria, because the laws are there, but then who is enforcing them? So
all right, let's talk about the victims now. Let's talk about the victims now. You've mentioned that there are laws, but like you earlier stated, people are scared to come out and admit that they've been sexually harassed in their various workplaces. What can be done to, you know, see to it that people speak out more, you know, express what is happening to them in their respective workplaces?
I think people need to have the right awareness, the places to report to, and the fact that the laws are that the system will back them, will stand by them. So most, like I mentioned earlier, most people are not ready to come out because at the end of the day, they will be stigmatized as the girl that was raped, as a woman that was sexually harassed, and then the person is distracted with all kinds of meetings and the legal process, and at the end of the day, nothing is done to the perpetrator. So people are generally discouraged. They are fear. They are afraid of stigmatization. They are afraid of failure. They are afraid of not meeting up with the powers that will be extended or displayed by the perpetrator, because most of the time the perpetrators have superior power. They have the superior money power. They have the superior power. They are in places of position. So violating that person in the first place is by way of exercising that power over them. So in the first instance, the government has to come out, because it all rises and falls on the government. The government has to stand by the victims, the survivors of some of these cases. For instance, this young woman has come out to talk about her experience in the Nigerian army, and it's gross. It's really gross. She's been stigmatized. She's been termed a mental health patient in order for them to perpetrate these atrocities. And then the spokesperson of the army, from his body language, is already threatening her that she will not report to the right forces, places, the structures in place for her to report. And I'm sure it's because she knew that nothing will come out of it. She had to cry to the public, to go to the court of public opinion. So the army, in the first place, should come out with a body language that says, we stand by you and we're ready to ensure that the perpetrators face the consequences, not blaming her, not putting her up for more stigmatization, and at the end allowing these people to go scot-free. By the time we do what Lagos State is doing, for instance,
as earlier stated, investigations are still ongoing. Gender rights activist Betty Abbah, thank you for your insights.